Hey everybody, it's Coach Brian. This video is going to talk about the concepts of pressure and cover, two-person defense, and how it applies to a 5v5, what we play in futsal, how it applies in futsal or in a 5v5 soccer setting. Hopefully you've had a chance to go watch the video from Champion Soccer talking about the concepts of pressure and cover. I know the audio is kind of hard to hear on that, but Coach Ali does a really great job of illustrating pressure and cover and what you need to do, and how two-person defense varies from one-person defense. So if you haven't watched that video yet, you should pause now, and I'm going to put the link to that video down in the description of this video. You should go watch that first and come back. So Coach Ali talks about how in one-on-one defense, the defender is going to cover the space between the attacker, and they're going to run straight at the attacker and then get into a sideways stance or a surfer stance, and they're going to face the direction they want the attacker to go. So in this case, the defender would probably want the attacker to go towards the sideline, so they're going to face this direction and try to force the player over in that way. They may even shift their body just the slightest teeny bit over to the side to make it more enticing to the attacker to come over towards the sideline. But they're not going to be much to the side. They want to make sure that they cover the space in between the ball and the goal that they're defending, and they're going to do so patiently. So the difference here is, let's say that in here the orange forward, number 1, has got the ball, and they're dribbling down the court. So our back is going to run up and cover the space, and they're going to pressure the ball. Well, they're really going to be pressuring the attacker. We want to make sure that we focus on not defending the ball. You're defending the man. So you want to be patient and defend the man and jockey back with this player if you need to. But in this case, the back realizes that they've got defensive help. They've got a second person. So the pressure becomes the player pressuring the attacker with the ball. The cover needs to run back to a spot in the middle of the field, closer to the middle of the field, and a couple of steps, maybe 2 to 3 steps behind, and then again towards the middle of the field from the pressure. And what they're doing here is the space behind the pressure becomes the most dangerous in the middle of the field. And we have been able to, through the cover is able to defend a player over on the side, as well as defend the space behind the pressure in case the pressure gets beat. Now this person can come up and pressure the ball as well. So it gives us a second shot at defending the attacker with the ball, and it ensures that this attacker with the ball doesn't just beat one person and then run off to goal. So that's pressure and cover. The other part of that is if the cover comes up and pressures and does a good job of slowing down the attacker with the ball, then we have more chances for more players to run back and help on defense. So the longer we can stall the attacker with the ball, the longer we can make them pause and think about what decision they want to make, the more defenders can come back and help us to defend. It gives them more time to run back and help. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing that Coach Ali talked about in 2v2 defense is it's a great rule of thumb. Even take away the 2v2 or the 1v1, it doesn't matter so much. If you are defending a player one-on-one, you're pressuring the ball, and that player passes the ball away, the last thing you want to do, you do not want to chase the ball. Because when you do, then the player that you were guarding, that you were pressuring a minute ago, now has a free run to the goal, and you've given this team a give and go opportunity to go to goal and get a very high quality shot on your goalkeeper. So instead, what would happen is, let's say that we are pressuring the player with the ball, and our teammate is covering behind us, and the ball gets passed across the court. The first thing that the old pressure should do is to take 3 steps back as quickly as possible so that they can see what's in front of them and so that they could guard the dangerous space behind them. Remember that the dangerous space is behind the pressure, not in front of them. It's not over here. All right? It's behind them. So when that player passed the ball away from the pressure situation, then our pressure needs to drop 3 steps back to guard the dangerous space behind them, and see if one of his teammates steps up to pressure the ball, in which case he could shift to the middle and become the cover. If there's no teammate there, and you're pressuring the ball, and the ball gets passed, and you take 3 steps back, you could now see that you are a one defender against two attackers, and what you're going to want to do is to try to go over here and make it so that the attacker with the ball doesn't want to pass the ball to his teammate, but you're also trying to slow him down and force him to the outside so that if he does get a shot at your goalkeeper, he doesn't get a shot from the middle of the court. He has to take a shot at an angle, which is harder for the attacker to score from. So the longer you could stay in between the player and the ball and pressure the ball, but in a way that makes it tough for him to pass it, the better you're going to do. It gives your teammates more time to run back and hopefully get back in time to help you defend. So let's talk about an example now of how this applies to us in 5v5, which is futsal. So the orange team is on the attack, and their left wing has the ball, and they pass the ball over to their forward who's cutting towards the sideline. And when that happens, we now have two players who are behind the play, two blue defenders who are behind the play, and we have two blue players who are in front of the play. The back is usually, in this case, going to be the one who steps up and applies pressure on the attacker with the ball and tries to slow them down and give his teammates time to run back on defense. If, unfortunately, this back makes a mistake and just runs at the ball and tries to kick it away really quickly, thinking that they want to just stop the attack right now instead of using patience, and if they miss that ball, then now the orange attacker, the orange forward, has got a straight shot down to the goal, and that's no good. So it's super important that when the back realizes what's going on here, that you run up and you cover the space and you apply pressure on the attacker, but you do so patiently. Keep your body between the attacker and the goal that they're trying to go to for as long as possible to give your teammates time to come back. Notice how the ball has been going down this side of the court, and so the far side wing, let's rewind again, the far side wing realizes that the back is about to step up and pressure the ball. So the far side wing realizes it's their job to get to the middle of the court and behind the pressure to become the cover. So they're going to hustle as fast as possible. They're not going to worry about this player over here. They're running to a position of cover behind the pressure as quickly as they can. And right now they're in a position of cover. They're a couple steps back and towards the middle. They could get better cover position, and they will in a minute, so long as our back continues to be patient and jockey back. So if our back does a good job here, now we've got two defenders on the ball. We've got one defender in between the attacker with the ball and the goal, so they're not going to get a good shot. Our far side wing has fallen even further into a perfect position of cover. And again, that wing on the near side has a chance to come up and steal the ball and maybe start a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2 between themselves and the forward for the blue team. We could be going back this direction. Now, this pressure player could attack the ball a little bit more aggressively, because even if they get beat to the middle, we had a cover that steps up and closes the space and can pressure the attacker with the ball before they can shoot the ball. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's rewind one more time real quick, because I also want to show you guys our diamond formation and how this works. So in our diamond formation, we've got on defense our diamond, right? And our back is the furthest player back. That's what's normally going to happen in a diamond. But when you're dealing with an attack, sometimes the diamond is going to shift. In this case, it hasn't shifted quite yet. We still have a diamond, and our forward is the most forward, and our back is the most back, and our wings are out wide. But we now realize this wing sees what's going to happen. The wing says, hey, wait a minute, my back is about to step up in pressure. I got to run back here and be cover in the middle of the court. So when that happens, we're going to have a diamond. It's very hard to see, but we've got a diamond position here. This is more of a flat diamond, okay, but it's still a diamond. But this time, the player who's farthest back is actually a wing, because our back has closed the space and stepped up to pressure the attacker with the ball. So the back doesn't always have to be the player who is farthest back. When the back is the pressure, somebody, a wing, needs to go back and be behind the back as cover. And hopefully that makes sense. It won't be the wing on the side where the ball is. They're going to try to go over and get two people to defend the ball. It's the wing on the side of the court who is opposite where the ball is that needs to run to the middle and behind the back to provide cover for the back in case they get beat, so that they can step up and become the pressure. Hopefully that makes sense. It's something that we're going to work on over the next several weeks and see if we can get it down by the end of the season. See you guys on Sunday.